conceive, believe, achieve. Shut the f*** up.
You're listening to Believe You Me with Michael the Count Bisping.
You know my name yet?
And Anthony Lionheart Smith.
Whoa, 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 whoa. Your name is not Anthony Lionheart Smith.
It's not? I should leave.
Neither is it Adam Catterall. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the show. Thank you for all your people that are here live and unleashed. Adam Catterall will be joining us in just a minute. He's just a little tied up. He's a little bit late. I see a lot of you complaining in the chat. I'm like, okay, let's just take this bad boy live. Later on in the show, we've got Cutman Tate, that man Tate, joining us. He's a very, very funny guy. And a lot of people always message, how do you become a cutman or a referee or stuff like that? So we'll ask him about that stuff. And he's got some funny, funny stories to share. So he'll be joining us in a little bit, but we're just going to fill for a minute or two while we wait for the one and only Adam Catterall, of course, my TNT Sports broadcast partner, Fight Disciples podcast guru. But never mind that, Harrington. I guess I'll ask you. We'll fill some time. How are you, buddy?
Dude, I'm absolutely incredible. I got to live out like a lifelong dream this weekend. I got to be pit crew for a demolition derby, which was sick. Like the demolition derby subculture is probably where my future is going to go. It's very America coded.
All right. Well, it is. Another America coded thing is I just saw it on the news this morning. What's his name? Something Chestnut. The hot
Joey Chestnut
guy, Joey Chestnut. He can't compete in this year's competition. And I'm like, it's the most disgusting thing I've ever seen in my life. It really is. It is just disgusting. Shoving hot dogs down your throat, one after the other, relentlessly, throwing up and gorging on it. Oh my God. Just disgusting, mate.
I'm sorry you hate freedom.
I don't hate freedom, but I hate you. Get off my goddamn screen. Go on, get out of here. There he is, Mr. Save the Day.
How are you?
I'm good, mate. How are you?
Very well indeed. Apologies for my tardiness. Blame Mr. Brendan Loughnane and Dakota Achiever. I was doing a slight thing with them, a few little bits of interviews. I told them, listen, I've got to jump. The count needs me. We need to jump in, mate. Get off the show. Here we go.
I do need you because Anthony Smith is all right. I'm just going to pull the curtain back. What do you reckon? People in the chat, let me know as well. It's Labor Day here in America. Happy Labor Day to all of the American people watching right now. Hope you're all barbecuing, having beers, and you're making merry and enjoying yourself and having a nice, well-deserved Monday off. It's like bank holiday in the UK.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So it's Labor Day. This morning he texts, he says his kids are all sick. I'm like, well, what can you say to that? You can't say, I think you're lying.
Nah, that's the ultimate. Whenever you need something doing or you need to pull away from something, use the kid card.
Use the kids.
There you go, man. Use the brain there. I like it.
The kids are sick. I'm like, no man alive can talk bad about someone's kids being sick. So, Anthony, I hope the kids get better. We went from one bald-headed guy to another bald-headed guy. You don't have the combat sports experience in the ring or the octagon, but you are one of the top analysts in the game. Fight Disciples, of course, TNT Sports, Talk Sport Radio in the UK. What else, Adam, on the storied resume career?
Mate, I'm everywhere, man. You switch it on and I am there. Whether I'm in your face, I'm in your ears, I'm just everywhere. You can't escape it.
I was going to go.
Yeah, I know you were. I was just trying to cross them in for you so you can finish them off.
It's coming in your face, coming in your ears, all over the place. Anyway, slow news week in MMA this week. No fights at the weekend. I didn't know what to do with myself.
Yeah. Yeah, it was a bit of a weird one. Similar to what you've just said there, though, mate. You know what I mean? It's the end of the school holidays here in the UK. So the kids are now going back to school after the summer breaks and all that type of stuff. So this was the last one. So I kind of took advantage, just spent a bit of time with the kids. Did all that, got it all done, booted them out the door this morning. Right, you're back to school now. Let's get back to work and let's get this cracking because obviously the UFC's back this weekend, which we're all excited about. And then next week, mate, it's the Sphere.
I'm I'm excited for that one. And this weekend, Gilbert Burns taking on Sean Brady. Cutman Tate joining us in a little bit, as I said as well. It is a slow news week in MMA. There was no fights at the weekend to go through, but Harrington, God bless him, he's done a stellar job. We've got a bunch of notes. We've got a bunch of topics. We've got some non-MMA nonsense as usual to get through. But a bit of news at my end. It's a bit of a craze right now. I had surgery.
I have.
Week, okay? Everyone knows, right? I'm not going on about it. Ooh, but I am proper hard because no man alive should be doing a podcast straight after having a disc replacement. Okay, it ain't no walk in the park, boys and girls. But I'm still here. Do you know what I've decided to do now to just make my suffering even worse?
Cool.
I'm doing a 3-day fast.
Water fast.
Bone broth fast. Well, no, because last week I had a tremendous amount of drugs in my system, legal drugs, not from the doctor. I was on bloody everything. I was on cloud 9 half of last week. Do you know what I mean? So I'm going to detox the system. I'm commentating this weekend. I'm going to detox. I'm going to do 3 days bone broth.
Have you started it? Are you in the middle of it now?
I'm on it. I'm dialed in. I'm focused. I mean, look at me. I've never been so sharp. I'm 5
when does it
hours
end?
into it.
When does it? All right, you're 5 hours in. So you're Wednesday is when you finish.
Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday.
Okay.
Wednesday night, I'm going to town.
Explain it to me with the bone broth. So it's just pure water, no solids or anything like that.
Yep.
And when can you have the bone broth? Can you have as much as you want of it, or what?
Every 4 hours, you have 8 ounces of bone broth, and apparently, because I've watched one YouTube video. No, I watched a few YouTube videos. I did a bit of research. The benefits of the fasting are supposed to be amazing. I sound like bloody Dana White or whatever now, but Harrington's done it. A lot of people are doing them. Callum did one recently, and he actually said it wasn't that bad. But for your shortness, for your, for the mental acuity, it's supposed to be very good. You detox your system like crazy. It's supposed to boost your immune system. You build new cells in your body. Memory comes back. It helps with all kinds of stuff. And of course, the main reason I'm doing it is for the detox at the week because of all the stuff I was having to put in my body last week. I mean, when I was in hospital, my God, I couldn't keep my eyes open. I was, no man alive should take this many drugs. And the woman just kept pumping them into me. She's like, I'm reading your vital signs. Your vital signs are perfect, Michael. So we'll just give you a bit more. It feels like you've got a high tolerance to this stuff. I'm like, it's been 10 years of madness. So anyway, bone brothing it up, baby.
Fair play, man. And listen, I've seen the aesthetics of people that have been on these types of things as well. You know what I mean? The 6-pack starts to come back, Mikey B. You start to get to. I see you. You're looking beach ready, getting beach ready. I see you.
Well, that might be the reason. I might have a meeting for a movie role coming up. I'm like, I can't rock up like this, all chubbed up to the max. Do you know what I mean? Anyway, enough of that. We're here to talk about some mixed martial arts, some very, very serious stuff, And it's a pleasure to talk to you, Adam, because you're one of my favorite people in the entire sport to talk to work with, to hang out, to have a beer with. So thank you for stepping up last minute. You're an absolute diamond.
This is unusual for us for me to actually be on your show, and we haven't had a beer. This is it. Normally when we are together and we're doing it, look, but you're probably drinking. Is that bone broth, water, green tea? What is it?
Black coffee. Doesn't break you fast before you start.
All right. Okay. Yeah. This is a bit soft for me and you. To be fair, pal, we should have a couple of tins going. You know what I mean? That's what the people expect.
And we will next time I see you.
Vegas.
Now I haven't seen you since UFC Manchester.
Yeah.
UFC Manchester. Belal Muhammad went out there and took the title off Leon in a very convincing fashion. Of course, we're all English, and we support our own, but you've got to call it down the line. Belal was tremendous. He was tremendous. Harrington, turns out that Belal Muhammad might be playing some little games right now, with the next contender and stuff like that. This is where's that Harrington's putting into our mouths right now, but go ahead.
So Shavkat says that he was, in fact, already offered a fight against Belal Muhammad for October. Belal said it didn't work with his timing. Then he posted a meme saying he's still on trial over this whole Leon thing and that Shavkat should be fighting Usman for the #1 contender because Shavkat hasn't fought since 2023. Shavkat fired back saying, hey, pal, you just got a title shot after being on the shelf for 14 months. So look in the mirror. I'm good to go.
Now, hold on. You did say in the chat something else, though. Something about Shavkat said he got offered the belt. He accepted a fight against Belal. Unfortunately, Belal declined to fight him because of timing issues. Belal them and then said apparently that he wants Kamaru Usman. That's what Shavkat's saying.
No, he was saying Shavkat should fight Kamaru Usman for the number one contender.
Sorry, pardon me. I was too busy looking at that meme that Brian posted. Your Honor, that's the guy that took the belt off me. What do you think of this whole situation, Adam?
I'm split because if we remember, the dust has now settled on that performance, right? And in the immediate aftermath of Belal becoming champion, I was probably more critical of Leon than I was praising of Belal. And that's probably the wrong way of looking at it, because now that I've gone back and rewatched it and analysed it a little bit more, Belal was brilliant. You're right, 100%. He's gone in there. He's worked his tail off during the camp, as you can tell. The game plan was absolutely mustard. They've delivered, got the job done, become the champion. Congratulations to him. But the microphone's put in his face straight after. And one of the things that he did say is that he wanted to be active. He wanted a quick turnaround. That was one of the things that he did say. And he called out Shavkat. Nobody does that. Nobody says the name, does it? But he did. And I went, whoa, man, fair play. While you're hot, you're hot. Try and capitalise now, Belal. Brilliant. Absolutely sensational. So if you've called for it and you want that quick turnaround, what's the problem, man? Now, okay, you're in the heat at the moment, mate. You've been there. You're in the heat at the moment. The emotions are going crazy. Say all this stuff. You can fight King Kong that night and he'd be rocking and rolling, yeah? Then when the dust settles a touch, you think to yourself, do you know something? I want to enjoy this. You know what I mean? Let's go on a world tour. Let's get on the beach. I've worked mentally, I've been so tuned into this Leon Edwards thing for such a long period of time, waiting my chance, of which he has done. He did wait a long time to get that shot, and he got it. He took it. He became the champ. Enjoy it. Enjoy the spoils. So I'm okay. Now that this conversation has come to fruition, I'm glad that Shavkat's been offered it, because in my opinion, he's next as a contender. I think Belal's well within his right to say, hang on a minute, I've just kicked this guy's ass in his hometown only a few months ago. I'm just switching myself off from him, and I'm getting myself aligned. So I'm okay with him saying no in October, but he can't say no to this fight. And he can't point that he and that Shavkat has got to go and fight Kamaru, because that's not how this works. Shavkat's next. Let's set a date. If it's December, cool, man. I'm all right with him saying no to October.
There's nobody in the welterweight division right now with a more deserving shot than Shavkat Rakhmonov. 18-0, 18 finishes. Granted, some of the wins aren't exactly over big superstars of the division.
No.
But are we saying, or are you saying, or are the masses saying that Belal pulled an Ian Gary? Because he called out Shavkat as well. He pulled out Shavkat. You get the props. You get everyone going, whoa, he wants the hardest fights. And then down the line, the fight doesn't materialize. He should fight Shavkat Rakhmonov. To say that Shavkat should fight Usman, listen, I would love to see that fight, Usman versus Shavkat. I think Usman's still got a lot left in the tank. I think he showed that against Khamzat Chimaev. Yeah, he showed that he still got it, stepping up a weight class as well. But I don't think that's the next fight. It's got to be Belal Muhammad versus Shavkat Rakhmonov, which we both agree on. Have you spoken to Leon, by the way, since that fight?
No, I haven't. Only text, just the odd word here, there, and everywhere. He's on holiday, isn't he? He's gone away with his family. Right. He's enjoying a little bit of sunshine and dusting it off. I've no doubt that he'll come back firing and wanting to get back on the horse relatively quickly. But for now, he's just having a chill, mate, and trying to compartmentalize everything that happened in Manchester.
I was going to say he'll be down, but not necessarily. You know, listen, we're all grown men. Right, we step in the octagon, you take the chances, you know what we signed up for. He's fine. You know, it's not like he's in hospital right now. It's not like he's recovering from surgery. No, he's not. He's walking around as a former champion with a massive, fat bank account. You work your way up, you get your shot, you win it, you defend the belt, you have another go again. You have 3 title fights, I think it was. I mean, this is what you dream of. You know what I mean? It doesn't last forever. Who knows? Maybe he works his way back up. Maybe he gets in that situation again. But he's got a lot to be proud of. No need to hang his head in shame. As a fighter, you know, let's be honest, he got dominated. You know, he did.
But he's relatively young still. I mean, he's still under 35 years of age. There's still a bit to go. He's a big lad for welterweight. He could make a decision to go up and have a go there if he really wanted to. I still think there's a little bit of time for him at 170 as well. We've got Belal as champion. Shavkat's next. Jack Della Maddalena's on a tear as well, mate. He's doing extremely well, isn't he? You've just mentioned Kamaru. Does Kamaru still want to stay at 170? I've just seen him really compete with a guy at 185 on a day's notice. So he might want to, we don't know what weight division Kamaru wants to play at. I think there's a lot left in it for Leon. Bit of patience. He's probably going to have to do maybe 1 or 2 fights in order to get back into title contention. But he's there or thereabouts, man.
Yeah. Speaking of welterweights, another person that is in that mix that, we never mentioned there, Colby Covington, who Leon did beat quite soundly. This is a rumor. This is a big rumor in Harrington. Well, I'm just seeing it on social media. Colby Covington versus Dustin Poirier. Harrington spread the facts or the news or the alleged nonsense. This is what we're doing. We're going full Chael Sonnen. Where's it come from, Harrington?
It comes from Twitter. Dustin Poirier put out
Must be true.
Obviously. No, Elon Musk would not let any fake news go. He came out and said that he is back in training camp for his next fight, his last go around, his one last ride, et cetera, et cetera. A lot of fans started tweeting asking if he was going to be fighting Colby Covington. He pretty promptly responded, just being like, the show moves on. So that's led a lot of people to speculate that his last fight will be at 170 against Colby Covington.
Yeah, and Brian just added here in the chat, what has added more to these rumors on Dustin's new update is that on his Instagram, he posted, "The game goes on." A day before, he also posted a photo of himself saying, "Big news coming." So he is going to fight again, of course, from the man himself. He is going to have one last fight. It isn't going to be anything relevant necessarily to the title fight picture at 155 because it doesn't need to be if it's going to be his last fight. Him and Colby, there's a lot of bad blood there. There's a lot of beef. There's a lot of meat on that bone if you're a promoter. And for Colby Covington, he still wants to be a part of big fights. I don't think he's going to get a title fight anytime soon. Dustin Poirier, Colby Covington, catch weight or 155, 170, who cares? Madison Square Garden coming up. What do you think?
I'm all in, mate. I'm all in.
It's perfect.
It makes so much sense. When you initially hear it, you go, but then you actually process it. I think it makes so much sense for everybody. Like you just said, Colby is probably the most fortunate guy on the roster, getting the amount of title shots that he's got, sitting out waiting for those title shots when there's been likes of Belal Muhammad sat there going, hang on a minute, I'm on a 10-fight streak. Why is it not me? So he's got his opportunities. He's not getting that opportunity again anytime soon. He needs something big. He needs something juicy. He needs something to get himself up for it. Dustin Poirier is that name, a legend of the game, a guy that has been there, done it, got the T-shirt. You just mentioned beef, bit of bad blood. Dustin Poirier's mates with Jorge Masvidal. He needs to get that one back for his pal, doesn't he?
Yeah,
let's do it.
Exactly. And listen, Colby, say what you want about him. The man's a promotion machine. With all like the personal stuff that they can go to, they would blow that fight up like crazy. I'd want to see it.
I'm all in,
Take
mate.
my money. Take my money. You know when Adam Catterall puts the tongue to the side of the mouth, the mouth of water. Have you seen the trend? Have you seen girls on social media? They all do that these days. What you just did, don't they? They all do that. What is all that about?
I've no idea, mate. It's just a natural thing that I've got. I'm like a girl on social media.
You're spending too much time on TikTok, bro. Oh my God. Another person staying on the match.
When is that rumored? Sorry to interrupt you, mate. When's that rumored for? Is that the back end of this year, or they're thinking of doing it in 2025? When they're doing it? No.
Listen, I just saw, but I saw it on multiple accounts. You know, so it probably doesn't mean anything. And Dustin Poirier did tweet that and post that on his Instagram. And he has talked publicly about having one more. And I just thought, you never know if it's just trolls or whatever. But I did see a lot of somewhat decent MMA outlet Twitter feeds talking about it. You know what I'm saying? It could be nothing. It could be something. Who knows? But as a fan, I just thought it's fun to talk about. It will make all the sense. Now, main eventing that one is supposed to be John Jones versus Stipe Miocic. Okay. We know that Tom Aspinall is going to be the backup fighter, right? People say that I'm best buds with Tom Aspinall. You're best buds with Tom Aspinall. You do shows
today.
with him. Oh, really? What was he going on about? Was he calling Stipe Joe Biden?
No, that was last time. He didn't do it this time. Listen, I think Tom's attitude towards this has been fantastic. You've got to try and poke the bear a little bit, haven't you? You've got to play to someone's ego. It's quite evident. Most fans who are watching your show right now that are well in on this, they want to see Tom Aspinall, John Jones. That's what they want to see. But if they listen to John and they follow the rhetoric of everything that's being said, they kind of think to themselves, he's going to fight Stipe and he's going to ride off into the sunset. And would any of us blame John Jones for doing that? Most of us probably wouldn't. But as fans, you want to see him take on that challenge. The only way that that challenge comes to fruition is if John decides that challenge comes to fruition. And the way that you get him to come to fruition is by poking the ego a little bit, he's not going to doubt himself because he's John Jones, for crying out loud. But if there's enough people in the world going, he's running away, he can't beat him, that plays to someone's ego. And someone like John Jones is going to go, hang on a minute, kids. I'm going to show you what's what. I want to remind you who the GOAT is. So I kind of like the way that Tom's going about it.
This isn't where I was going with this. I was going to bring up that Tom was talking about his Mount Rushmore of MMA, and we'll get to that in a second. But seeing as you did bring that up, it's interesting because last night I was sitting on the couch with Callum, and we were talking about the John Jones, Stipe, Tom Aspinall kind of love triangle, if you will. And me and Callum had a big difference of opinion. And even Rebecca came over. She's like, stop arguing. We're like, there's no one arguing. We're just having a spirited debate. We're both laughing. Callum's point was, and I disagreed, is that because Tom is the interim champ now, that the Stipe versus John fight should be scrapped. And I'm like, you can't do that. You can't punish Stipe Miocic. And he's like, yeah, you can. I'm like, no, you can't. You can't do that. That fight was already made. I said, Tom was on, and as much as we all love Tom was only made or offered an interim title fight because that fight got postponed because of injury, and injuries happen. And he's like, yeah, but so what? Every time you've had a fight booked, Dad, and then you get injured, does that fight still go ahead down the line? And I said, yeah, but they announced that they were going to postpone the fight before the Tom fight was even signed. Anyway, so we were arguing over that whole debacle. Yeah. Where do you stand on that?
I kind of like where Callum's coming from here. I understand your point of the fight was booked. It's this legendary fight. And do you know something? I've actually no problem with the legend fight. John Jones fighting Stipe Miocic, no problem with it. My problem is that it's for the undisputed heavyweight championship of the world. That's my problem. Because the undisputed heavyweight champion of the world should be fighting the interim heavyweight champion of the world.
That was Callum's point.
And I've got to agree with it. I get it. The fight was booked. You've got your eyes set on, I'm fighting the guy with the best record ever in UFC heavyweight history in Stipe Miocic. From a John point of view, brilliant, plays to everything and the narratives. Love it. But in the time since, there's been more. There's been more things happen, haven't there? So therefore, in that time where more things have happened, the story and the time and the narrative does change. No problem with the fight going ahead, but I've got a problem with the undisputed heavyweight championship belt being on the line for it.
I'll tell you what's changed right now. Stories and narratives. The format of the show has changed. We are joined by the one, the only, that man Tate, one of the best cut men. No man alive should miss what this man has to say. What's going on, Tate? How are you, buddy?
Brother, thank you for having me, man. Like, I'm excited. Thank you so much. I missed what y'all were talking about earlier.
You are a liar. You're not excited. You were like, for crying out loud. Bisping needs a guess. He's hitting me up. What am I going to talk about?
Bro, I just want, I love what y'all are talking about. I mean, I have an opinion about everything MMA. So, I missed the beginning of it, but continue. I love it. You guys are super intelligent about it. So I hope I don't embarrass myself by giving you my 2 cents.
No, not at all. We were just talking about Tom, Stipe, that whole situation. By the way, Tate, this is Adam Catterall. I don't know if you're familiar. I don't know if you've met each other. Adam Tate, Adam. I work with Adam on TNT Sports and stuff like that. So we cover the UFC together. What is your opinion on all of that? Give me your opinion.
About what? John and Aspinall and Stipe?
Yeah, sure.
I've been in the sport for a while. So if I'll be honest with you, the sport has changed in regard to now, if you're popular on social media, you can almost get yourself a title shot. But if you look at the sport the way you were in and when you fought in the era you in, guys didn't get like a lot of title shots. So that's what made them super important. You know what I'm saying? So like you had to wait several years to get that title shot. And it wasn't just, you know, you were popular on Instagram and you kept saying a guy's name and then finally the UFC said, okay, we're going to give it to you. I love Tom Aspinall. I think he's going to be great. And I think he is an amazing fighter. I just feel like the UFC is kind of doing right because John's never been hurt before. So, and this guy's probably one of the most decorated fighters. I mean, I don't care about his outside pass. So between him and Stipe, I think those two have paid their dues and deserve to fight for the belt. And I just feel like Tom has to wait his turn. And I mean, I think that'll make him a better fighter. And I think that'll give him more character and that'll make him more of a fan favorite for him having to wait. You know, I don't think you always get what you want right away. And I feel like John has paid his dues, you know, so to not be stripped. And I get that the fans are calling him inactive and I get that the fans are doing that, but I feel like they don't take a lot into what John did. Like he took time off to become a heavyweight. And when he became a heavyweight, he became the champion. You know, this guy has done a lot in MMA. And then you talk about Stipe. He's also been an actor, but he's been doing things. So these guys have paid their dues to be where they're at. And I feel like if you scrap that, then what are we saying to the new generations coming up? Anybody can just get a title shot because they're popular on Instagram.
Yeah. First of all, I've just got to address something. Adam Catterall, you were late. Tate, you're half an hour early. It's like, what the hell is going on? We'll just keep it nice and conversational, Adam. The three of us, we're just going to go kumbaya. We're going to talk. Tate, how the hell does one become a cut man? Because we get videos about this all the time. People asking, how do I become a judge? How do I become a referee? Cut man's been in there before. How the hell do you become a cut man in the UFC?
There's no real science to it, man. It's right time and right place. So for me, I was a paramedic and I was around the guys and I started out, I would give them IVs. And then I was like, hey, almost 20 years ago, I saw it and I was like, I kind of want to do this. And at that time, Burt Watson was like, you know, you got to pay your dues. You got to go at these small organizations. You got to learn how to wrap hands. And then once you do, then we'll kind of give you a look and we possibly might bring you in. But I mean, you're not going to look on a website and they're going to say, hey, cut man for hire, or they're not going to, you know, you're not going to go to gyms like that. It's just not done. This is a very trendy kind of occupation. So you got to spend time in the gym. The fighters got to become accustomed to you. And then, you know, eventually you might get that call or you might not. I mean, it's just being a cut man in the UFC is no different than trying to be a fighter. I think it would actually be easier to be a fighter in the UFC than it would be to be a cut man because there's only 5 of us. And then you have the UK guys that travel. And then we have 3 alternates. So, and let's be honest, it's not labor intensive. I can do this till I'm 100. So you basically got to wait for somebody to die before you can get in. You know what I'm saying? So it's a very hard job to get into. But I know that people see it and they're like, oh, this is the best thing ever. But a lot of people forget I've been doing this for almost 18 years before now all of a sudden, you know, the fighters have embraced me and then social media has taken over and kind of made me popular.
One of my favorite things that you do, obviously the job in itself is intensive and we'll get stuck into all this, no doubt. But when the fight is being padded down and they're being vassed up and they're about to go in, I always look for your face, whether you're actually the guy that's doing it, padding them down, or whether you're in the background, because some of your reactions to some of these fights, man, are absolutely hilarious. Within itself, there should be a meme or a channel dedicated to that man Tate's little reactions to the fight that is just about to take place.
I can't help it. Like I tried. We had to fight RTO, and the girl bent over and was slapping the girl's bum, and I was just like, and I'm just like, you know, everybody else is being professional, and I'm just like, I had to turn away because I'm just like, well, that's odd. And then like we were doing Dana White Contender Series this past week, and the guy like lays down with his butt up in there, and I'm just like, interesting. Like the fighters get in the moment, they do their thing, and I'm just there, just kind of like. But I really am not trying to do it. Like I know people like, oh, but it is what it is, man. It just happens. You know, if you do something funny, I'm just gonna be like, oh shit, this happened.
Yeah,
So.
you got to be reactive. Tate, I love your energy. You're around. Everybody loves you, right? I see the way that you interact with everybody because like the UFC, it's like a small family. We're on the road all the time, and you guys more so than me. And even for me, it's a lot of traveling. And I love like the warmth that you have with everybody, but there's got to be some divas in this fight community.
Nice.
When you go back, when you're trying to like work on them, give me some stories. Come on, sell someone down the river. Talk a little shit. No one cares. It's okay. Come on, give me an interaction. Give me some gossip. Give me some good stuff.
I will give you the one person because he's not in the UFC anymore, and you fought him. Fucking Luke Rockhold was a pain in the ass. Like, bro, listen to me. I know he was a good fighter. I don't think anybody except DC like Luke Rockhold. Like, bro, he was, oh my God. He just, and even now, like, it's funny because, like, Luke could, like, pummel me. So if he's ever around, Bisping, you better defend me. But, like, I see him now. And, like he was talking shit about Sean Strickland. And I'm like, nobody cares, bro. Like, this whole Dana called me, I'll go in there and handle this for you. It's like, dude, he was a problem. Like, and he was just, dude, him losing the belt was like the best thing for him. But like I said, he's not with the UFC anymore, but he was the one guy that just, oh my God, even to just be around him, you would just be like, bro, why are you such a dick? Like, and honestly, you could tell him that he was a dick, and I think that fueled him even more and made him even more like, yeah, let me be that way. I mean,
it got harder. It got bigger.
Yeah, like that was his.
I'm growing.
Yo, bro, he was just like, but I don't really have a lot of problems with the fighters. Like I said, most of them are actually cool. I find that, to be honest with you, Road to the Octagon, this last show that we did, I had more issues with those fighters than I have ever had with UFC fighters. Like when you were like wrapping their hands and stuff, like I literally looked at one of the guys in his translator. I was like, you tell this dude, I've wrapped champions that hadn't complained as much about their hand wraps. So it's never, that's because
they're nervous.
And again, you try not to stress them out. And that's one of the things I do when I come in the back, because you guys got to fight. So like, if you can like lighten that mood by joking or just taking their mind off of 5 or 10 minutes, you want to do it. But then at some point too, it's like, bro, like these are hand wraps. As good as I can try to make them, they're still tape and gauze. You know what I'm saying? So like, you're going to have to fight in them. But like I said, I found that most of the guys that you deal with, like on Tough, are like guys that haven't made it or not superstars yet, tend to be the ones that you're like, bro, come on. Like, they're looking at you like, yeah, like, I think this is okay. And it's like, who are you again? But again, you try to take it all in stride and laugh, man. You don't want to get into arguments with these guys.
Adam, coming from the boxing world, the boxing world inside and out much more than I do. For somebody like Tate, being a cutman, what kind of differences between the two sports have you seen? Or do you have any questions for Tate in that kind of regard?
Well, the type of injuries that you will be dealing with compared to what the guys in the world of boxing are dealing with, I suppose the majority of cuts, serious abrasions within a fight in order to try and keep a fighter within a fight come from obviously being punched in the face or head clashes. That's the majority stuff. You're dealing with knees, kicks, all sorts of things. What's in between rounds when a fighter comes back to the stool, they part the backside there. They've obviously got a serious abrasion, and it's obvious that it's going to threaten maybe the fight, whether it's going to get called or not. Talk to me about that conversation there, because the reaction there, you're obviously going to give signs off to the camp, the doctor, the fighter themselves. What's those moments like? Because they must be pretty tough.
Well, so from the start,
you're only dealing with 1 minute, aren't you? You're literally dealing with 1 minute. Come on, man. Save the fight, basically. Crack on.
So the thing with the cuts, like honestly, so like you're sitting cage side and you want to cut because you want to stop it, but then you're also nervous as well. Like you never want to go in there and be like, man, they're gonna stop the fight because of you. Like that Drew Dober cut was just crazy. So like, you're like, oh, so you look at those kind of things. And then I think the Bruno Silva, whatever. I never got a chance to work on that, but you're sitting there and you want that cut. As a cut man, you're like, give me this. You're like, I want it. But then you're also like, oh shit, like I got like, and that's the one thing. But then when you get back to the corner, when you're looking at guys and they're beat to hell, my mindset, being that I was a paramedic, goes to kind of triage. What's going to stop the fight? These cuts are not going to stop a fight because they're not bleeding in the eye. So this will stop a fight. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. Swelling will stop a fight. There's been times where swelling was more important than the cut because the cut was down here and the swelling was like in the eye. Anything that is going to get in the guy's eye is where you're going to give your most attention to. Also, for me in my mind frame, I want that guy clean. So you'll see me holding the Q-tip up to stop the bleeding, but I also want to give that guy the clean look as much as I can because damage matters. So if you look at a fight and one guy's beat to hell and there's blood everywhere, that could potentially sway the judges. Because we've all seen it where a guy has a bad cut, but the other guy's beating him. But he's bleeding, and so to the eye, you're like, well, this guy's doing more damage. So I'm very big on making sure that my fighter's clean. I don't want blood anywhere on him when he leaves the corner. And then you want to get that in there, and you want to, for me, I want to run to the fighter. I don't go, and that's the difference in boxing because you're waiting for the fighter to come to you. I go in the cage and I go to the fighter and try to cut, and I try to get as much time with that fighter as I can.
I've seen that. Even before they've hit the stool, I've seen that.
Right. So you want to do that because seconds matter in this sport. Right. And then you get there and then you sit them down. But the one thing that you want to when you're in that corner is I have to be calm. And now I've had some calls where all hell went loose and then I'm in there freaking out too. And the fighter's like, is it bad? Is it bad? So for the most part, no matter what I'm looking at, I'm going to try to be as calm as I can. I'm going to look at the coaches. I'm going to tell them that I got him, that I can stop it. And then we're going to get him out there. The biggest difference in MMA and boxing as the cut man is the hand wraps. So if I was to do boxing, I would be an independent contractor. I'm an independent contractor hired by the UFC. So I don't have a dog in the fight. But if boxing, that's why you have to have the other corners watch you wrap the guy's hands because that's when you tend to do things guys do things that are suspicious, where the wraps might be different or they're cheating. And that's why the commissioners have to watch them that much closer because I'm getting paid by the fighter. So now I have an interest in that guy's winning. You know, if I help him win, then I get more money. So that's where you get the cheating in. But as far as MMA goes, the hand wraps, that doesn't matter because I can wrap everybody. But then as far as like the cuts go, you want to be quick. So you want to get to the fighter as fast as you can. You can't pick the fighter up, but like if the guy's been getting, ground and pounded, I want to go there, watch him stand up, and I want to like kind of help him back to the fight. I don't want to see him wobbling all over the ring and making it look like he doesn't know what he's doing because you can stop the fight for that. So from the moment I get in the ring, I want to get that fighter, let him know that I got him, walk him back to the stool, let him kind of regain composure. And for that 50 to 55 seconds, I just want him to know that he's in my hands and I got him. I'm going to make sure he's clean. He's going to come out and then hopefully we can start the fight over and keep going again.
It is crazy because you see some fighters and they look like they've just been through a bloody, a meat grinder. The blood's everywhere, the face is falling off. And then after 60 seconds, the job that you guys do is phenomenal. So on behalf of all fighters, thank you, because it does make such a massive difference. Like when I got kneed in the face of Anderson Silva at the end of round 3, my face was falling off, blood everywhere. And then I went out in 4 and I looked good. Has there ever been a time, though, when you've walked in and you're like, oh, bro, I'm good. I'm good at what I do. I've got my little iron freeze. I've got my Q-tip. I've got a bit of Vaseline, but bro, I can't work miracles. This is done.
I had 2. So, TJ Dillashaw.
What do you call iron freeze? What's it called again?
It's the end swell. The end swell?
The end swell.
So I had one where, and I tell everybody, TJ Dillashaw had a cut that went this way. And so the cuts that go like horizontal, those are easy to stop. But for some reason, the docs were telling me like because it was vertical, that it could hit a nerve. So they were literally thinking about like stopping that fight. So I'm over there begging like, please don't stop this fight. Please don't stop this fight. And then he actually ended up winning. But like that was one of those few fights where I was in there and I was like, and they're like, well, is it getting bigger? And I'm like, no. And they're like, because it's a nerve there. So that was one of those fights where I was really, truly like kind of sweating bullets. And then Mackenzie Dern had a fight in the Apex where she had broke her nose. And like you could feel a bone clicking in there. And she like looked at me and was like, is my nose broken? And she was moving and you could feel a bone clicking. I was just like, I thought I was going to throw up. I was like, oh my God. I was like, and I was literally like, oh, please stop. And I was like, literally like, please stop doing that. Like, it's going to be okay, please. And then like, she's kind of looking up, trying to see if her nose, and I had my hand over it. That's another thing that we really do is like when the fighters are in the corner and they want to see the cut, like I try to do my damnedest to cover it because I don't want them to look at it. I don't want them focusing on that. I want them listening to their coach. So that's another thing that you do too. Like the hardest part for me is to not get in the way. Like do your work and not be in the way because the coach wants to be in the center talking. They got a lot of information. That corner is chaotic for like 30 seconds, you know? The guy's trying to get composure. He's trying to get his breath down. He's trying to drink water. So it's a fun moment.
What's the worst one you've seen? The ones that spring to mind for me are like the Gregory Rodriguez one where you've got a Harry Potter right down the middle of the forehead. You remember that? Oh,
that was a bad one. I was seeing that one. And then I didn't get to work it, but that Drew Dober cut, I was like, that was one of those where you want it, but I'm like, man, I'm glad somebody else is dealing with that shit. Cause that was just, there was nothing you were going to do that was going to stop that cut, man. It was like, damn, you know? Yeah. So you have a little bit of ego, man. You kind of want everybody to be like, man, this is the greatest cut, man. He can stop anything. And you're looking at this like, there's no, Jesus couldn't have stopped that cut, bro. That thing was bad.
You just said that one of your things that you're doing, which I so much respect. You're trying to calm the fighters down. You're trying to hide the cuts, and people don't hear this kind of stuff because, and that to me, after being a lifelong fighter and being around the UFC for so long, I didn't even know cutmen that are good cutmen that give a damn, that care, are doing that kind of stuff. So again, thank you. But I don't expect you to name names. But has there been times where you're in there and you're trying to fix the cut and all the rest of it, and the corner man is just out of his mind? Do you know what I mean? Ranting, raving, coming out with absolute nonsense, and you're stitching away or like doing your thing, and you're like, bro, this is the worst cornering I've ever heard in my life.
Again, listen, I'm not gonna throw names, but
no names.
It happens a lot where you're in the corner, and like I said, I'm not an MMA practitioner. I just know, but there's been times where I've been in the corner and I'm like, what are you telling this guy? Like, what? Like,
you're winning.
Yeah, like you hear that shit, or you hear him, or I've been in the corner and you hear the rah-rah speech on the third round. You're like, bro, this dude is getting his ass whooped. Like, the last thing he needs is motivation. Like, that's not working right now. You need to come up with technique. Or I've heard a coach tell a fighter he was winning and the fighter coasted and got his ass whooped. Then I've heard a guy just in the corner just screaming obscenities, and I'm just like, but the best coaches, man, are when they're in there and they can actually get the guy to focus and calm down. So, and I don't mind saying this, like Pahumpa out of AT&T, like I love when he's talking, because that's a cool aspect of the job too, is when you're in there and you hear the coach tell a fighter to do something and watch the fighter do it and it's successful. Yeah. That's the most amazing thing. But there's vice versa where you hear a guy telling them, well, you need to take this guy down, and there's no prayer in hell that this guy's going to take him down. So that's the fun part of it too. But it's also exciting too, never to be ugly, but when you see a fighter that's broken, like you see everything firsthand in the corner. You see when a guy, you know when a guy's going to lose. You're like, dude, this guy does not have it. You see when a coach is telling a guy like, hey, we need you to do this, and the guy repeats it back to the coach, but he's not sure of himself. You're like, damn, like, okay.
Let me just jump in there, Tate. You're good for a few more minutes? Don't go anywhere. But we got to go to commercial break. What? We'll be right back. Brian. All right, this episode is sponsored by MyBookie.com. Listen, it's time to turn your football season into your best winning season yet with MyBookie. Whether you're rooting for the alma mater or betting on a hunch, there is no better way to experience the thrills of the season than a little skin in the game. When you bet with MyBookie, it's not just watching the game. You're investing in every moment of action. I'll say from experience, a few bucks on the line can turn a regular game into the highlight of your season. Here's a fun fact. Did you know that the average college football game runs about 180 plays? Every catch, sack, and touchdown is another way to hit pay dirt using my bookie. Get in now and use the promo code BELIEVE to claim a bonus of up to $1,000 on your deposit. That is promo code BELIEVE to start the football season off playing with house money. And the best part is my bookie will keep you coming back for more with tons of exclusive lines, free bets, and access to VIP contests. Don't ever miss a single play. Bet on anything, anywhere, anytime, only with my bookie. Yo, speaking of my books, look at this, Tate.
Bisping, I'm not Bisping. I've been asking for that book. I'm a big reader, bro. I asked Bisping for that book a year ago.
This is yours.
Okay,
this is yours. I'm handing it to you right now, but you just can't take it.
Bisping, put it in the car so when you come, put it in your suitcase so I have it next time.
I'll do it. Listen, we'll let you go in just a second, but I got one last question. Adam, you're going nowhere. We got lots of stuff to get through. Tate was early.
Yeah.
All right. I've got kids to feed. I've got a life to live. I'm like, you're mine. Brian, get ready to roll this tape, Brian. What the hell was going on with you with DC? Did you have a knife in the octagon? Did you see this, Adam?
I saw it on social media. Yeah, I saw DC losing his mind.
Listen, you want to talk? Put your knife away.
What are you talking
Put
about?
your knife away. It's time. No, put your knife away. It's time.
Hey,
put your knife away.
You're gonna be the first Hall of Famer game.
Hey, put your See, you want to talk with no consequence.
No, you talking shit to me.
Do you have does he have a shank in his hand?
I will stand this. Listen, I'm too old to fight you guys. And DC is the biggest antagonist. Like, Bisping, you work with DC. Like, if DC is not causing issues, that's just how he is. So I was talking and I was doing the walkouts because I love doing the walkouts. Like, that's my feeling like a fighter moment. And I get to be goofy. And then DC I didn't even know he was working. And then he chimes in and he just starts calling me a fake fighter. And then, like, this has been going back for years with DC and I. And I'm just like, you know what? Okay, and then he just started talking trash to him. I was like, dude, didn't you get beat by John twice? Like, wasn't you the guy crying in the octagon? You know, I was like, wasn't you the one that was like, when Joe asked you about this rivalry, you was like, it's not a rivalry if you don't win? I was like, wasn't that you? And so then, of course, he came in the octagon. I was like, they locked the cage. So I was like, I either got to jump over the fence or jump over the cage or I got to stab him, you know, something. So I was like, something's got to happen to even this thing up. But, you know, DC is always, man, I got to give him so much love because as much shit as he talks to me and he lets me talk back, he's never like beat me up like my boy Gilbert or those guys. But DC's always been a good fun friend to tease and always have fun with.
It's crazy because, and we'll have to let you go now, Brad. Sorry, Tate. And I hope we do this again because I could talk to you all day, man. And we're going to do this, just me and you. We're going to go solo, baby. And Adam, you can chime in on this. Like DC, I saw somebody post on social media recently because everyone talks crap because he's like a big cuddly teddy bear. You know what I mean? DC was the two-weight champion of this sport and could maul 99.99999% of men and women or bloody anything on this planet. But people just go at him and because he's so nice and so personable and so fluffy and friendly. But people just feel the need or think they can get away with talking shit.
It's wild.
That's the internet. Like, I even like, so like, I see all you guys' comments and they like people, the internet has just made people very, very comfortable saying whatever they feel like they can say. And then like, it's crazy because like, even though I'll talk trash to Gilbert or DC, like people forget like I really am friends with this person and I really care about them. But then I'm just like, you know, even like the stuff that they say to John Jones, it's like, dang, y'all must have forgot. Like I got in trouble, not in trouble, but when Tom Aspinall came on, I made the comment that they turned on Jesus. You know, I was like, yo, don't forget they turned on Jesus too. And man, I got so much flack about that. And I'm like, say what you want about John, his personal life, whatever, but the man is an exceptional fighter and he would kill 99.9% of anybody that ran up on him. And the fact that you can text these things on a keyboard and say it with no consequences baffles me. You know what I'm saying? It's like, and then if you was to see him face to face, would you still have the balls or be brazen to say you suck or you're this or that. It's just, it's
they would
crazy.
not say a goddamn thing. Tate, it's been an absolute pleasure. I'll see you this weekend if you're working. Thank you for your time.
Don't forget my book.
It's going to be signed. This is it. This is the week. He's been asking for years, Adam. Tate, you're the man. Thank you for your time.
Thank you guys so much. You guys have a great day. Appreciate you for having me. Bye-bye.
Of course. No, anytime. Thank you. Sorry about that. He was super early.
Infectious personality, man.
He really is. He's fantastic. We were talking about Tom Aspinall, though. What I was going to bring up was that he brought up his Mount Rushmore of MMA. Did you see this?
I haven't seen what he's put on there. What did he pick for?
Harrington, have a video that we can play. It's multimedia, this show.
Hey,
it's amazing.
Mega, yeah.
It's mega.
I might have to try one.
Let's have a look. We got no sound.
It's hard to deny that, even though John Jones is a little bit more relevant than him at the moment. But GSP number 1. Number 2, I'll go John Jones, even though I'm trying to fight him. I think you can't deny what he's done. Number 3, probably go Demetrius Johnson, number 3. I think he slips under the radar a lot because he's so small and not very popular, but the guy's skill level is ridiculous. Number 4 is a bit of a tough one. I think you'd have to go Khabib number 4, in my opinion. I think the guy's really, really good. Even though he retired a little bit early, he could have possibly done a bit more. I think he's still one of the best ever. So,
not a bad list.
It's a good list.
Not a bad. He puts John Jones on there. Yeah. That's very decent of him and gracious. What would you have?
Oh, do you know was that just a UFC one or was that an MMA?
Let's just say mixed martial arts.
I think it's very difficult when you're making a Mount Rushmore to not have a Gracie on there. I think you kind of got to have Hoyce. He started it, didn't he?
Agreed. He's the guy.
He's the man.
They started the Gracie family started the UFC. He won the first UFC. If we're talking pioneers, I mean, it doesn't get any better than that.
I like Anderson Silva being in there, mate, as well. Maybe. Listen, the rest of it, I think is completely up to debate. GSP, you can make arguments for Jones. Of course, you can make arguments for. You can make arguments for the undefeated Khabib, Anderson Silva. But for me, the one that has to be there is Hoyce because he was right at the start.
I like Anderson Silva being there, and I like George St. Pierre being there simply because I've shared the octagon with two of them, with both of them.
That's good.
I think people forget, and Harrington, you chime in as well here. Mount Rushmore of MMA. It's supposed to be like the pioneers, the people that started this, if I'm not mistaken. So having Khabib, I get it. But there was someone before him that inspired Khabib by the name of Fedor Emelianenko. I think you got to have Fedor on there. You got to have Hoyce Gracie. Who else? I mean, honorable mention, I guess, to Ronda Rousey for what she did for female mixed martial arts.
I don't think that's just an honorable mention, mate. I think that's got to be in because that's a serious pioneer moment.
Now, we know when Brian jumps on, there's a hot take coming.
Here we go.
It's too much of a hot take. Chuck Liddell is the reason why everybody my age got into UFC pretty much. He was like their first superstar.
It's your first crossover guy. Chuck has to be on the list.
I think you have to put him on there if you're doing influential people for MMA.
It's just so hard because there's 4, because if you're talking about that, then there's also Randy Couture. Of course, Demetrius Johnson is fantastic. You've got Anderson Silva. You've got George St. Pierre. You've got people like BJ Penn, who was a 2-weight division champion. People forget about BJ Penn. BJ Penn was, without a doubt, one of the very best. Have you got anything different to add here, Harrington?
I mean, it's funny to me that we've thrown out 20, 25 names at this point, and Conor McGregor was not mentioned once. And I don't think he can be. Like, I was actually trying to formulate the straw man argument.
That's the biggest backtrack I've ever seen in my life. It's crazy. We never mentioned Conor McGregor. And I don't think it should be.
You're talking about pioneers of the sport, and we just highlighted Ronda and what she's done for the female game, opening these doors, and look where we're at right now. Tremendous. What Conor did in that little rise of 2015, 2016 to where we're at now, mate, he kicked the doors off the thing. So if you talk about pioneers, he's in the conversation at least.
Certainly. I mean, for the same reason you're putting Chuck in there for making it more mainstream. But for a guy like that who never once defended a belt, it's so hard to put on a Mount Rushmore with the kind of names of Anderson Silva and GSP, guys who really did it for a long time.
But you're judging it purely from an MMA point of view. What if you judged it from an MMA business point of view?
And also, what about this point of view? Let's remember, the sport's only 30 years old. Yeah. Let's look at this in 100 years' time from now. Who will be the name that's really stood out? You cannot deny the impact that McGregor had on this sport and then bringing it to the next level, you know, and I'm the last person to sit here and fluff him up. Do you know what I mean? But you can't deny that. You just can't.
How many, I say kids, this is the wrong thing. I'm an old fella at 43 years of age. But when you're speaking to the 20-somethings, why are you an MMA fan? What inspired you to become an MMA fan? The majority of those answers are coming through and they're saying, oh, well, Conor McGregor brought me to the sport.
Yeah. Herringbone, come back, Herringbone. You're welcome anytime. I even typed it in the chat. Look at that. Come back. At this point, we're going to do a little non-MMA.
Ooh.
You do not get time,
we're going off piece, though, eh?
We're going.
Right, okay.
Yeah, we are. What have we got, Harrington? What have we got?
So we got a couple of
Listen,
things.
Harrington, don't bring me any politics stuff that's going to get us in any bother.
No, there's no politics. There's none of that nonsense. And we're gonna look at the chat as well, and we'll see what the chat wants. But what are the different topics? By the way, a couple of your topics, Harrington, I looked at them in bed. Rebecca straight away. The light from space. That's absolute nonsense. That's fake. Harrington put in the notes, and Brian played the video. In a second.
No way.
There's a satellite in space that when you get the app, no matter where you are on the planet, it will shine a light on you if you're in the dark. Right?
Like a beam me up Scotty type thing?
Yes. Hell.
What do you got?
Looks like Reflect Orbital has a new lighting service where you can like play with the spot.
Oh, awesome.
Yeah, watch this. Just bring it over to us here. Isn't that crazy?
No way.
No way.
What do you got?
That is not real, Harrington.
I think it is.
You think that's real, Adam?
Bro, come on. You're telling me I could be anywhere on the planet. I could just go like that, and a god light and just go like that, bing, on my head. Come on, bro.
So it's not that simple. You have to sign up for it ahead of time. They are taking videos for demonstration purposes only, obviously. But they are taking orders for Q4 of 2024 into 2025.
What do you mean?
So,
what do you mean?
Because they only have the one satellite, so not everybody can control it at one time. So you can buy like a 15-minute window where you're like, hey, I'm going to be, on the beach in South Carolina at this point. These are my coordinates. I want it for these 15 minutes. And you reserve that time, and then you bring it up on your phone, and you can just impress somebody with that. I don't know.
Listen,
in the right mind is buying that?
Well, I'd buy it. I mean, that's a pretty awesome. Hold on, sunshine application. Come on,
for 4 minutes in a 5-kilometer area. That seems like that's gonna be not allowed.
Well, that's problematic for people trying to sleep or camp out or animals or wildlife. And somebody here in the chat, Nars, says, that was a street lamp, you pleb. That's from England.
I'm with you.
I saw that and had to laugh. That's a good one, Naz. I mean, listen, it's cool as hell. It is cool. But lights up 4 or 5 kilometers? I don't buy that for 1 second.
If it's coming from space, I feel like it would have to light up that big of a you know what I mean? You're essentially using a mirror to make the sun shine at night. I don't know, dude. That's a pretty cool invention of science.
The guy who started this company should go to jail, like that woman who started the company where she was like, this one drop of blood will, give you a test
for
the
Theranos lady?
Yeah, and she went to jail forever. Like, this guy's going to go to jail forever, too.
Probably.
I kind of like it, though. It is kind of handy, especially if you're on a dark night. You haven't got a torch.
Turn on the sky.
It's just turn on the satellite.
Just go like that, going...
This guy's changed. I remember him when he used to sleep in his car. Now look at him. He's got satellite beams lighting up the night sky. What else have we got, Hamilton? Non-political, non-controversial, but interesting at the same time.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, I think the biggest news, a lot of people I saw talking about this on my Twitter feed. I don't know if it made it over the pond to where you're at, Adam, but 49ers rookie wide receiver.
The dude that got shot?
Yes. Ricky
This is
Pearsall.
amazing. Do you know this story? Do you know this story? This is amazing,
Yeah.
the story.
Go on.
Sorry, I interrupted Harrington with the full story. Am I right in thinking that he was getting mugged for his watch?
He was in
got
Union Square, Square, San Francisco.
In San Francisco.
Which is like the most touristy area. I've got a couple of pictures on my landing upstairs of cows. I don't know why I bought them. They reminded me of Clitheroe. I bought 2 pictures of cows, bought them in Union Square. Very touristy area. He plays for the NFL. He's a big dude, strapping lad, fit, looks ready to defend himself. Got a nice timepiece on. Guy tries to rob him, blasts him in the chest.
But he doesn't get mugged. He keeps his watch, doesn't he? He fights the dude off. The dude clears off after blasting him in the chest. And then does he not walk himself to the hospital or walks himself to the ambulance or something like that?
Well, he had a couple of supporters, but he did, on his own power, on his own 2 feet, walk to the ambulance after getting shot through the chest, and it went out the other side, missing all vital organs.
What position is he for the 49ers, that fella?
Believe he's a wide receiver.
Stay there, Harrington. We're going to talk a little NFL. Are you an NFL fan, Adam?
Big NFL fan. Season kicks off this week, man.
Let's go. I'm excited.
You guys have it the best over there, too, because you don't get all the commercials, all the game breaks. You go to, like, studio people in between breaking down stuff, and when you come back, the kickoff is started for the second half. It is English. The English have figured out how to do American football way better than the Americans.
We've also figured out the UFC. We get the pay-per-views for free.
Who's your team? My team's Buffalo Bills, mate. And I'll tell you how this all came about. So I wanted to follow a sport that I didn't work on and I didn't have to analyze. I just wanted to enjoy it. So when we're watching fights now, you're constantly thinking, right, he's doing this, he's doing that, and we're going to be making a TV show after it. So you're thinking maybe in analytics when you're watching a fight sometimes. Whereas NFL, I didn't know anything about it. This is about 5 years ago. Started watching it. Kind of liked it. I need a team. Have you seen those mystery boxes that you can send off for? So you can, there's a website, Mystery Shirt. You can pay a fee to this website and you don't order the specific shirt. They will send you a box. They'll pick the shirt for you. They'll just put it in a box and they'll send it to your house. And then that'll be the shirt that you get. So I sent off for a mystery box. The mystery box came back and the NFL shirt that I got was Buffalo Bills. And that's how I became a Buffalo Bills supporter.
I said I was going to do this, try and follow an American sport, just because I want to feel like one of the guys, one of the lads. I just can't do it.
Bisping, honestly.
It just bores me. No, I don't mean NFL. The only sport that I find somewhat entertaining, other than combat sports, is basketball.
Well, that's an American sport.
Yeah, no, I know. But even still, I just need to pick a team. When does the NBA start?
Usually around Halloween.
Yeah.
All right, that's it. Give me a team. Who should I follow? I'm in LA, so I should do the Clippers or the Lakers. What do you think?
You should do.
Both going to suck this year.
Well, Clippers or the Lakers. Let me know in the chat, guys. Clippers or the Lakers. That's it.
I'll make a poll.
A fan is born right now.
Harrison, who's your NFL team?
New York Jets, unfortunately.
The Jets? Okay.
They're going to be good this year, but I mean, we're talking 35 years of nothing but regret and pain as a Jets fan.
Well, anyway.
So.
As long as your quarterback doesn't pop his Achilles early doors, man, you're rocking, aren't you? There you go.
It's probably going to.
Jamal Hill. Off you pop, Harrison. Get off. Anyway, we didn't want to segue into a whole NFL bit.
Mate, it's the season kicks off. There'll be people watching your show that they're excited about.
Well, the 49ers are down. They're down a play because he just got blasted in the chest. I mean, what is the world coming to? I mean,
wild,
he ain't going to be making it this season, that's for sure.
No, that is just a wild series of events. Obviously ruined his season. Shame for him.
Definitely ruined his season, nearly ruined his life. You like to think, I'm fair play to that guy, because that takes real balls, to say no when somebody puts a gun to your face like that or holds you up at gunpoint. Because I had it in South Africa. And the guy wanted me to get in a car. I've told the story many times. I didn't get in the car because I thought I'll die, But had he have said, give me your watch, it would have been a different discussion. I don't even think I had a watch on. But if he had done, like he said, get in the car. I said, he said, get in the car, you're dead. I said, I think if I get in the car, I'm also dead. Do you know what I mean? So I never got in the car. And in the end, I pushed him.
But yeah, somebody's after materials off you, mate. You give them up. It's not worth it.
I know.
Give that. No problem, man. I said no
It shows
problem.
us-
Obviously, it's a problem, but fuck it, have that.
It's the state of the world, though. I mean, it's going crazy when a guy like that's walking around. Because I saw a news feature this morning, and there was like a news reporter giving advice. So what you got to do is make sure you're not walking around alone. Okay, don't wear jewelry because it's a target for thieves. And it's like, yeah, okay, I guess a lot of this stuff is common sense.
Yeah,
but it's just such a sad state of affairs that
That's
this
not-
is the state of the world that we're living in. That you can't walk down the street alone. That you can't wear a nice Rolex if you're lucky enough to own one.
Yeah.
Adam's
man.
like, this is getting into politics.
No, it's not. It's not. It is. That's sadly where we're at right now, and it's a shame that people they'll look at that news story today, and obviously, listen, he's done what he's done. He's fought back, and he's ended up having a trip to the hospital, having a gunshot. But that could have gone an inch either way. He ain't on the planet anymore. You know.
Exactly. Anyway, should we talk about MMA? Should we get back on track quickly?
Yeah, go on. Man.
Thank you very much. In fact, before we do that, Brian, roll tape. We're just going to run to a quick commercial break. This episode is sponsored by Mando.com, which was created by a doctor who saw firsthand how normal body odor was being misdiagnosed. Listen, if you're one of those guys that sweats a lot, Mando are here to save the day. First of all, aluminium-free, baking soda-free, cruelty-free, dye-free, and vegan, if that means anything to you. It is clinically proven to control odor better than shower and soap alone. It's 2024. Now listen, just recently, Mando were kind enough to send me one of their 4-in-1 acidified cleansing bars. It's a 5-ounce bar of soap that does the work of a shampoo, a face wash, a body wash, and a deodorant. You can also use it to create a rich shaving lather. So technically, 5-in-1. It's clinically proven to control odor for 24 hours. Mando's 4-in-1 acidified cleansing bar is formulated with gentle alpha hydroxy acid that stops odor at the source. Regular soap can't do that because the pH is too high. And you can get this in 3 cologne quality scents, by the way. Mount Fuji, so fresh and woodsy. Bourbon leather, sweet and sophisticated. And Pro Sport is clean and citrusy. And right now, new customers can get $5 off the Mando starter pack. Perfect for new customers. That comes with a solid stick deodorant, cream tube deodorant, 2 free products of your choice like mini body wash and deodorant wipes, and free shipping. Luckily, with the code BISPING, you're going to get $5 off, which equates to 40% off the starter pack. That is code BISPING at shopmando.com. I'm telling you, I don't think I could eat right now if I wanted to. This bone broth fasting stuff is easy, man. It's a walk in the goddamn park. You always stay.
You're only 5 hours in. Calm yourself. Give us a shout in 24 hours. Let's see where you're at.
We always talk about this, Adam, because, you know, we like a beer. You know, we're not excessive drinkers or anything like that. But, you know, we like to get together. We have a beer. And for me, the next day, my wife can take one look at me and go, you had a couple of beers last night, because my face puffs up like a balloon. But you are always silky smooth.
That's external, mate. Internally, it's not that way. I think, do you know something? And maybe some of your audience will maybe feel this. Once you hit 40, that recovery time, I don't, even just off a couple, the recovery time's just not there no more, man. I can only do it once a week now.
Wait until you hit 45. Goes the other way. I can go all day. I'm fine. Oh, look at this. I'm flying today. Anyway, Aaron, to jump on the show, you put a story about Paddy Pimblett in the news, in the notes, should I say, talking about potentially a fight with Dan Hooker.
Yeah, so he said, you know, he was looking at his options, like what's available to him, and he said most likely Dan Hooker is next, but he did lament. He said, you know, it would have been nice to have gotten a run like Sean O'Malley got, right? Like you go from number 11 to fighting like a Charles Oliveira was right there. Fight a Renato Moicano, then fight Charles Oliveira. Before you know it, I'm number 2 and right in line to challenge for a title. He said, instead, I'm probably going to have to go fight somebody like Dan Hooker and work my way up.
What do you think of that matchup, Adam?
Oof. Well,
and what do you think of that statement?
Well, that statement, after what Dan Hooker's just done, where's he ranked now? He must be on the verge of top 5 again.
Who did he just beat? Remind me.
Gamrot, and he's number 5 now.
Yeah. He must be 5 in the division. So therefore, if Paddy's getting a matchup with Dan Hooker, it's exactly what he's kind of just said about Moicano and Charles Oliveira, because you're going straight to 5 if you win that, and that's
from 15-ish, right?
Mate, it's a tough ask to beat Dan Hooker on the form that he's in right now. If you win that, then you take that slot, and then you're one fight away from a title. So it's kind of the same thing
it is.
What he was saying anyway.
I think he's putting it out there into the world. So
to fight Dan?
To make that happen, because that's exactly what he's doing. He's making out that he's taking the hard path, but he's going to bypass 15-5. It's actually really smart of him. Granted, Dan Hooker, no walk in the park. Look at what he just did to Gamrot. Unbelievable performance.
Sensational performance.
But he was saying there that he kind of wanted the kind of path that Sean O'Malley had. And you know, from the boxing world, it's kind of like not a similar path, but you slowly, it's a slow build.
You navigate it.
It's navigated by lawyers and managers and sharks and con men and all the rest of it and promoters. But Sean O'Malley, I had no problem with the journey that he took to get him where he is now, because when it was time to step up against Piotr Jan, he passed that test, close fight, and then knocks out Aljamain Sterling. So I'd like to see that path taken more, if I'm honest.
The beautiful thing about the UFC is that it is the best against the best. The top contenders, undefeated guys and girls fight against each other, and they rise, they fall, they rise again, all those types of things. But that's the beautiful thing for me with the UFC, comparing that to boxing, where you've just said it. I've seen guys and girls navigate the ranking system to a point where they're number 1, number 2, number 3 in the world of a certain sanctioning body. They never fought anybody, never had a test. And therefore they get the world title shot, they get the nice payday, but they get their ass kicked in the final, in the world title fight, because they're just not ready for that level as of yet. Whereas I think the UFC toughens people up to the point. And look at Dan Hooker, prime example of Dan Hooker. Rose, fell, he's come down the pecking order, he's gone in between weights. Now look at where he's at. This tattooed dude that's blonded his hair is an absolute beast, isn't he? He's got everybody on a turn. He's just done that to Gamrot. I didn't pick that. Now he's on the verge of the top 5, and he's motoring back up the rankings once again. That's the beautiful thing of the UFC. Regarding the Sean O'Malley path, I don't think it's for everybody. I think every now and again, a star comes along that's obvious. They've got the social media background. You kind of want to nurture it a bit. Paddy's kind of got that nurturing bit. And I personally think that Paddy maybe has had the Sean O'Malley route, where you get
for sure
given some favourable ones. You get 3 or 4 favourable ones. Then you get your test. And the test, it looked like on paper the test would be Tony, but Tony was in a different space. The test was definitely Bobby. Look what he did there. Wow. Brilliant. If you want to, you're in the rankings now, man. There's no easy ones here. Which one do you want? And if you want a Dan Hooker, you're obviously leapfrogging 10 fighters there, aren't you? But I think that's kind of what they did with Sean. They gave Sean Piotr, there's your test. Can you live up to it? He lived up to it. Rock and roll. If you're asking for Dan Hooker, you better be able to live up to it. That's all I'll say.
Yeah, I mean, it's like, this is what I said for Paddy going into that fight with Bobby Green, King Green, is that it was sink or swim time, and he definitely passed that test with flying colours. It was unbelievable. I mean, that display of grappling that we saw from him, I'm telling you, that was super high level stuff. Elite. The way that he executed that, it was absolutely fantastic. And people can talk shit all they want, but when they get a time, and everyone agreed, this is going to be a tough one, and then he does it like that, you got to just stand back and just say, congrats, respect. You know what I mean? Because he did it, and he did it in absolute style without even taking a shot.
What's in that for Dan? If that fight gets made, what's in that for Dan? Because he's just beating Gamrot. So he's like that.
Well, for him.
What's in it for fighting the guy that's between 10 and 15?
Well, you could say for Gamrot, it's an easier fight than people in the top 5 going forward. And when you're at that level, each win is another notch. It's another number in terms of your win streak, and gets you closer and closer to a title fight. Paddy Pimblett's a big name. That's why people have always called him out, because they thought he was an easy fight. So for Dan Hooker, it might be fighting behind in the rankings, but this might be one of those very, very rare occasions, because people don't want to do that. Nobody ever wants to fight back in the rankings, but this might be one of those times where Dan Hooker says, bloody hell, mate. You want to give me Paddy Pimblett? Let's bloody go. I had it for a second. Can you do an Australian or New Zealand? A split second. Come on. No, you're a master of You are good at the.
G'day. I've got the g'day. That's it, mate. That's all I can do. You got to go full Volkanovski. That's what you got to do.
You've got a good Drickus, though.
I've got a great Drickus Duplessis, mate. The South African Drickus Duplessis. Let's take him to South Africa. Let's fight in front of the African people. Come on, mate.
I like it a lot. Anyway, so that remains to be seen. Paddy versus Dan Hooker. I like it, though, for what it's worth. At the weekend, and you have, is it 2 or 3 children that you have?
3. And one big one, 2 little ones.
Do they all do martial arts?
The 2 little ones do, yeah.
Mine do martial arts, apart from my daughter. The 2 boys do. And it's generally a path that fighters, boxers, MMA guys, their children, they kind of put them into that path. And where I'm going with this is that Anderson Silva, his son, was fighting at the weekend against Anthony Pretty Boy Taylor. Did you see this by any chance?
I haven't seen it. I've heard about it.
Anderson Silva's son got knocked out. And it was like, just as a father seeing that, because, you're a fan of somebody, you see a fighter or whatever, and they go out there and they lose and you feel bad for them. I can only imagine what it feels like when you're Anderson Silva's son. You're not anybody's son. You're not any Tom, Dick, and Harry. You're Anderson Silva's son. I mean, the pressure that kid felt, and then to go out there and get knocked out. Let's have a look.
Oh, straight right hand.
Well, it wasn't too bad. It's not like he was unconscious. It's not like he was unconscious bad. But it's just because the last name Silva does it. I mean, Anthony Pretty Boy Taylor, that was a nice shot, the way that he slipped and ripped, beautiful work. But I don't know why I'm bringing this up. But just as a father, I just saw that and I was like, oh, God damn.
I hate watching my kids fight in competition. My son's got a fight on Sunday. And I absolutely...
Has he really?
Yeah, he's into kickboxing. So he's in competition. He's only 11 years of age. I absolutely hate it, mate. I can sit with you around the world, all these great fighters, and watch incredible violence and be enthused by it. But there's something when you're purely emotionally connected to the person that is competing. It genuinely does make me think sometimes of the friends and family of fighters like yourself that have obviously had to sit there and watch someone that they love compete in combat. And all right, he's only 11 and maybe he's not fully developed yet and he's not a grown man and he can make his own decisions. And I'm sure my attitude might change as he gets a little bit older and he becomes more competent with what he's doing. But it still doesn't take the emotional element away from just, I want it to be over as quick as possible. You know what I mean? And then we can all go back to being normal.
What if he's got it? You know what I mean? Because I'm not bigging him up, but Lucas, he has got mental
hands
power. Oh my God, it's insane. So Callum has started training at the same place as Lucas. They went off training together last week. He came back with a black eye. Callum came back with a black eye. I said, who did that? And I'm sorry, Callum. His little brother gave him a shiner. And then Callum was like, what is going on with his punching power? And even Ben, the coach, was like, dude, he's dropping people left, right, and center, and he's only 14. He has to lie to the adults about his age so that they don't feel bad. Do you know what I mean? Because I was never known as being this knockout merchant, you know what I mean? But he's got it. So I'm telling you, he's coming. The Count. I told him, if you're going to fight, you got to be known as the Count. And he's like, no way. No way, not doing it, son. Anyway, we won't keep you for too much longer. A couple more minutes. Harrington, have we got one more good story to finish up on? Let's go. No pressure.
I mean, there was a second half of that story.
What is the second half of the story?
That Anthony Taylor, after he got the win, called for a fight with Darren Till.
Right. This is where I was going. We're live, the pressure.
He called out Darren Till. Darren Till responded, saying he will fight him anywhere, any weight, any Misfits pay-per-view they want to throw it on. Make the phone call. He is more than happy to stop him and anyone else on the Misfits roster who are all shite.
Let's have a look at that. I want to see Darren because he is absolutely hilarious, Brian.
This is a message to Anthony Taylor. I don't usually do this shit, but I've seen you call me out the weekend. Well done on your victory. I will fight you anywhere right now, whatever event Misfits want to put on. If they want to do it in my city and you want to try and knock me out in Liverpool, then we will do it here. at any weight, whatever date. Because you, sir, are fucking shite. And I think everyone else on it is shite. I will not even train for someone like you. And I will knock you flat out. Okay? Right.
It's very matter of fact.
Till, man. There's only one Darren Till. There is only one.
Right. I always get abuse from people online because I don't think they know, right? You know Darren, and this is not because we're friends with Darren. People massively underestimate Darren Till. Like,
as a fighter?
As a fighter.
Right, okay.
They have no idea. Like, people think that is some joke. I mean, he was beating Dricus du Plessis on the feet. Granted, a lot of the time he got ragdolled and he got choked out eventually, but he was beating him on the feet when it was on the feet, but it's MMA. He's had some tremendous performances. His striking is top notch. And like, Darren's all over the place up here. But I'm telling you what, because I always say, listen, if he came back and he got his shit together and figured everything out, he's championship material. And people got, Bisping, what are you talking about? What do you think about that statement?
I 100% agree. I've always said that Darren Till's problem is what's going on between his ears. It's nothing to do with his ability. The guy got a title shot against Tyron Woodley, and it was earned because he was starching people. And then he moves up in weight. Look at some of the fights that he's had against some of the fighters that he's had. Look at the resume. Yes, there's losses on there, but who's he losing to? Robert Whitaker's on the verge of fighting once again for the title if he can come through a Khamzat fight. Go and watch the Darren Till Robert Whitaker fight. It's literally, the thing that splits them literally is one strike in the third round.
No, it was the takedown at the end of the third round. I think it was.
Maybe. There's one into, all right then, one moment. It's literally, it's so close. Go and look at the current middleweight champion is Dricus du Plessis. Go and watch the second round. Go and watch the second round of that fight. There's something inside Darren's head that isn't, how do I phrase this? I've put it down in the past where it's about fully committing to the sport. And I've had a few chats with friends about it. I've even spoken to Darren about it. And I think that if he fully committed and he was okay within himself about giving 100% and falling short, I think you would see the best version of Darren Till. I think right now it suits Darren to be able to have the excuse in the back of his head of saying, I didn't give it 100%. That's why I didn't achieve what I needed to achieve. And that's blatant. It's blatantly obvious he's not giving 100%. It's blatantly obvious that he's fighting at 60 and 70%. If he gave 100%, I am absolutely convinced that Darren Till could have a championship run inside the UFC. Absolutely convinced. Because his level of IQ when it comes to striking is off the charts. Off the charts.
Yeah. No. I fully agree. You know,
and
you mentioned
and technically, mate, his takedown defense is good. For some reason, he allows things to happen.
You can't say allow. He doesn't allow it. He gets taken down.
It's something going on inside his head, mate. There's something going on. And I don't know what that is. Only he knows the answer to it. But I think he could if he fully committed.
You mentioned Robert Whitaker and Khamzat a second ago. Yeah. Again, rumors, Twitter, Instagram. I don't know what's going on, but there's a lot of people talking now that apparently that fight may be in jeopardy. I don't know anything about that, but I think it all started because Cyril Gane's been bumped up to the co-main event. You see that? Cyril Gane versus Volkov, I believe, is now the co-main event. Is that what you said, Harrington?
Yeah, so this happened over like a short 6-hour stretch last night. I genuinely do think it was a mistake by one of the interns for the UFC because they posted a picture of Volkov and they were like, man, can't wait for this guy in the co-main event at UFC 308. And then that tweet was deleted about an hour and a half later. It was like a picture of Khamzat and Robert Whitaker, and it said, you know, the co-main event people have been waiting for. So I think somebody just got their wires crossed.
Well, thank you very. Don't do that. Don't come on, make a fool out of it, and then run off before you can be absconded. Okay, you brought this up. You put it in the notes. Then you correct me on air.
Where is it in the notes?
We talked about it via text.
We texted about it.
We can't talk about it. All right, Adam, we have kept you for long enough. What day is it? Monday evening. How's the weather out there right now?
Crap, man. Summer's officially over. The monsoon season has just kicked in. It was absolutely pelting it down today, mate. And I've no doubt it's going to continue doing that throughout the course of the week. It's Great Britain. That's why you live in California, son.
37 degrees here today.
How about you jog right on? Not interested.
37 degrees. Adam, we've kept you for long enough. You're the man. I will see you. When will I see you next?
Next week. Are you going to Vegas? Or are you not bothering with the Sphere?
I don't believe so. I don't believe I'm going to be there. You're going to be there, so you're a big dog. You're one of the big crew.
I'm going to dip it. Mate, I've got to see the show. I want to know what that's going to look like. I've got to be there. I've got to go and have a look.
So you and Nick are flying there specifically just to go and...
just to stand there like this going...
No, you're going to cover the event, or did you buy a ticket and doing it through that route?
Well, I'm going to work it, so we'll be there.
See, there you go. You're working it. Yeah. That's why we have the best job, because it's work. I mean, I'll be working this weekend at the Apex, commentating an amazing fight, talking about the only thing that I have any authority talking about. Adam, thank you for your time. Harrington, you're going to jump on. We're going to wrap up the show with just Harrington. So anyone watching live, don't disappear. Fight Disciples podcast. If you're a boxing fan, if you like MMA, this man knows what he's talking about. He's ride or die. Nick Pete, of course, knows what he's talking about. And
absolutely,
they are solid guys. Anyway, get the hell out of here. Go on. Get lost.
Do I just leave? Are you going to boot me out?
Yeah, because I'm going to go to commercial break in 3, 2. Brian's not ready. Passion, drive, and patience. The formula for winning championships is also what keeps your ride or die alive. eBay Motors has everything you need to maintain your vehicle and level it up to peak performance. Superchargers, roof racks, exhaust kits, LED headlights, and more. Whether you're into speed, power, or style, eBay Motors has you covered. With over 122 million parts for your number one ride or die, you'll always find exactly what you're looking for. And with eBay Guaranteed Fit, your part is guaranteed to fit your ride every time or your money back. Because with eBay Motors, you're burning rubber, not cash. With all the parts you need at the prices you want, it's easy to make your car the MVP and bring home huge wins. Keep your ride or die alive at ebaymotors.com. Eligible items only. Exclusions apply. Well, from Adam Catterall to Mike Harrington, it is quite the downgrade. But in terms of robots, we've seen quite the upgrade just recently. You like that segue? I'm looking at the notes. I'm like, what are we going to talk about? We've just got rid of Adam. My God. AI, artificial intelligence, robots, they're going off the deep end these days.
Yeah, so there was an unveiling in China. They showed off some humanoid AI robots that they're working on, and you can see here, I mean, that's moving around. They definitely have a human face on the top. It's that's a robot right there.
That's definitely a robot. I mean, it's unbelievable what they can do now. But you showed me one as well that wasn't quite as convincing. And this is the one that I want to talk about, really, to be honest.
That's what China's got going on. An American company they put this one out for demo, showing people, I believe it's like the beta or something. They're showing people what it can be like having an AI assistant in your home. And people are questioning whether that is in fact a robot or just a guy in a suit.
Well, guy in the suit, robot, whatever you want to call it. They're going to work so hard. They're going to develop this technology so you don't have to pick up your own bag. That's it. I mean,
and so you have someone to hug.
And someone to hug. Introducing Neo Beta. I don't know if that's true or false or whatever. But Elon Musk was saying recently that in a few years' time, for about $1,000, we're all going to have these in our homes. And like mundane day-to-day stuff, I guess it could be useful to have. He said the price point is going to be pretty achievable, like $1,000, I think he said, but I'm not sure what my point is, but it's like, what, you're just going to use someone to pick up your bags, to fold your laundry? I mean, I feel like there could be better uses.
That's not what people are going to use it for.
Well, what do you think they're using them for, Brian? The ones from China.
Talk about it here.
No, the ones from China, they're a little bit more palatable, shall we say.
Be a lot more useful for that. But I was thinking, like, you know, if you could set it to be like, hey, empty the dishwasher and then reload it and then, you know, make some peanut butter and jelly sandwiches. You know what I mean? Like, it would take me about a half hour to do all that. If I have that half hour to be working on whatever I'm working on, that is nice. I feel like that would feel super weird, though, just having a third body, like a third adult size body in the room with Alex and I.
Yeah, I don't know if it'd feel weird, but it's like there's joy in that. Like Rebecca's favorite thing in the house is just pottering about the house and doing like little jobs, watering the plants and stuff like that. All right, granted, it's not exactly hard stuff and it is pleasurable, but like the best part of her day, she like anytime I need anything from Rebecca, like I guarantee now, if I give a classic Rebecca, it won't be heard. She's outside watering the plants. Rebecca! Nothing. In fact, I know what she's doing. She's sanding. She's sanding right now. I can hear the sanding going on. We've been doing a bit of DIY in the house. I just had surgery last week, came back. She said, I'm going to remodel the downstairs. She's going to strip off all the wood, paint strip it, sand it back, stain it. Then I'm going to wallpaper. I'm going to do the tiles. I'm going to do all these things. We're going to, give it a mini facelift. So I put a little video of me yesterday doing a bit of that stuff. And everyone was like, and this kind of goes back to the robot stuff. Everyone's like, why don't you just pay someone to do that? You've had a good career. You've got money in the bank, whatever. Why don't you pay someone? It's like, well, hold on a minute. There's job satisfaction. I actually really enjoy doing it. When I was younger, I didn't. But now it's like, because I go from being extremely busy to I don't have any time to all of a sudden I have loads of time and I get bored out of my head. And when I get bored, that's when, the demons creep in and you think, well, sorry, I'll have a beer, or you start eating crap or whatever, or you just get lazy and watch crap on TV. These little projects like that, I actually really enjoy them and I'd rather do them myself.
Yeah, I know. Like I learned that a lot from my father-in-law. Like he has a thing like where we'll go to, a cousin in his family's house and he'll be like, that window up there. Like I built that back in like 83, or I redid that bathroom in the 90s. And it's like, there is something so cool about being able to be like, hey, this is my handiwork to, future generations. There's just something very cool about that.
Makes you feel like a real man. Although I will say this, when you've had neck surgery, it hurts. It hurts like crazy. Last night I was laid in bed, my neck was on fire. Anyway, is there any questions to do at the end of the show before we do one more mixed martial arts story? Let me know, yes or no. Do we have any other MMA news, Harrington, right now to get to?
We do. Also, just wanted to
in the chat.
Just want to clean up something from the chat. There's a decision made. You should become an LA Lakers fan, according to 63% of the over 300 people who voted on that. So
okay, well, I'm more familiar with the Lakers. However, years ago, I went to a fight at the Honda Center, and I just moved here, and I'd never heard of the Clippers. And this guy came. I walked into the Honda Center, and this is back when everyone hated me. Right, I was enemy number one. I walked in, and everyone just booed like crazy. Right, and I mean bad. So I just stood there and I flipped everyone off and started laughing my head off. And then everyone started cheering. And this guy came over. He said, "Hi, he was one of the execs." He said, "The way you handled that was amazing. I'm a big fan of your work. I'm from the LA Clippers. If you ever want tickets, we can look after you. We can accommodate you." I'm like, "Oh yeah, great." I thought, Clippers, what is this? Threw the card away. And now I know, you know what I mean? So, yeah, Lakers fan. There we go. I'm a big Lakers guy. What have we got in the MMA world before we wrap this show up?
So I thought this was kind of cool. Carlos Prates, he says that the UFC has been calling MVP to set up a matchup between the two of them, but MVP refuses to pick up his phone. He says that he must currently be having nightmares about the nightmare.
I don't think MVP's having any nightmares anywhere. He's one of the coolest guys walking planet Earth. And he's probably sat on a beach right now in Jamaica, in Miami, in Turks and Caicos. Every time I DM with him or message him, he's always somewhere good. He's living his life. Fair play to Carlos Prates, though. I mean, that man's flying right now. Who did he just beat? Li Jingliang. Unbelievable. Yeah. Everyone wants to get a step up. Everyone wants to leapfrog the division, MVP's a big name. He's had a couple of big fights now in the UFC, so that makes all the sense in the world. Who did we see recently that was saying, sign the contract? Sign the contract. There was somebody on social media speaking about another fighter. And it's like,
I feel like,
go on.
I think we talked about this last week. I'm trying to remember who it was now.
A lot of the time, these contracts don't exist. I've had fighters saying it to me. I've had Luke Rocco going, sign the contract, Bisping. I'm like, there is no contract. Stop like giving it the big one on social media. Stop trying to make the fight happen. If there was a contract, I'd sign it. Trust me. But there isn't a contract. But still, Carlos Prates, MVP. I'm not against it. It'd be a fan-friendly matchup. Should we go to some questions? Do we have any super chats? I think I saw one or two that we should answer really in the show. What have we got, Brian? Anything to quickly address before we do a question or two?
Nothing good in the inbox today.
Oh, really? Nothing good in the inbox. Well, guys,
I got some stuff that we shouldn't play, but
go on. Like what?
Just some unintelligible questions. I don't want to insult people now by playing their video.
Oh, I kind of want to see it, though. I kind of want to see it. Well, if you do have a good question, send it in next week. Thursday, we'll be back. Next Monday, I'll be here with Anthony. Send it into bympod@gmail.com.
And, of course, if you're listening on iTunes, Spotify, or wherever you find podcasts, make sure to subscribe. Leave us a 5-star rating, positive review. It really helps out on those platforms. And if you're watching on YouTube, make sure to subscribe to the channel and you hit that notification bell to find out whenever a new video drops.
And that's the show, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you all for being here. I appreciate it. And let me know, by the way, how do you feel about this new live version? Just want to address a lot of people were DMing and saying, where was the new show? I went to the YouTube channel and I couldn't see it. Of course, there's different tabs. You got to click on the live tab on the channel. So I said to Brian, well, let's just upload the replay at a later date so people aren't missing it. And then people were like, what's all this? You're putting out the same episode twice. No, we're not. But anyway, thank you all for supporting the show. We appreciate it. Big thanks to Adam Catterall. Big thanks to Cutman Tate. Brian Harrison, thank you very much. And that's the show, guys. We will be back. Oh, you're dying to say something.
We have those couple of super chats we wanted to hit.
Oh, go on, then.
I just wanted to give them their Jimmy Newman says, Bisping, can you tell him Jimmy Newman runs the dark corner? I don't know what it means.
I have no idea what that means. And what else did we get? Adam, we need to get Tate out for a beer when we're all at the same event. I agree. Cutman Tate, he's a funny guy. And he seems like he's got a lot of stories, so we're going to get him back on. Anyway, that's the show. You guys take care. See you next time.